What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders, and we are going to be talking about the offensive line once again, taking a look at some of the issues and talking a little bit at the end of the video about what are we going to do about it, because the offensive line, we looked at the run game the other day. Today, we're going to look at pass protection, which there was only 21 dropbacks by Cooper Rush, and you kind of saw the same thing that Lamar Jackson's been seeing for weeks, and that's just constant pressure, constant guys losing up front, and it results in Cooper Rush getting his clock sped up. And I think I'm not trying to give Cooper Rush excuses, though. I think, you can look at the box score and see 3 interceptions. One, the first one, obviously an errant throw that just got away from him. But the second one tipped up by Andrews. The third one, Rashad Bateman quit on the route, which has been extensively covered. So, I mean, Cooper Rush didn't have as bad of a game as it seemed. Obviously, they couldn't move the ball, so that's never a good thing. But when you look at the offensive line, I still think it's the core issue of this team, and that's kind of what we're going to be taking a look at. So before we jump into it, this video on Russell Street Report is brought to you by our friends at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. The Meet the Birds event with Rashad Bateman is coming up on October 14th. You can see on the screen here, I threw it up so you can see there's still some general admission tickets. T-shirts are sold out. VIP is sold out, but still some general admission. Get over there, check it out. And as always, Road Graders is brought to you by our friends at Profit X. So let's jump into the film. Pop it up. There we go. Make my screen bigger. So we start with a play here. I'm going to take a look at Falele and Voorhees first over a couple plays, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Joe Noteboom because he had a lot of issues in this game. This play right here serves as, I love when one play can kind of show you both players' issues. It just makes things a lot simpler. So we'll start with Voorhees, and then we'll come back and look at Falele. So what I want you to focus on when I run it through here with Voorhees is his hand placement. He's been having an issue with a wide hand placement, and you're going to see it, really show up here where those hands land out wide, and then he gets driven right back into Cooper Rush. And so it's one of those things where I could show you 3 or 4 plays to just kind of stack, but I think you guys have been watching and seeing the same thing I am. So we're going to really focus. So as Voorhees is going to come out of his stance, and they've been doing this to the Ravens a lot, where they want to get, they're going to line up as a 4 technique to get you out into your kick step, because once it gets you out, you open your hip, taking that kick step. That's when guys seem to be struggling landing those hands. So they're going to get Voorhees out into that kick step right there. And as he does, and he goes to brace, he's constantly landing with his elbows out and his hands landing up wide, where we want to kind of, when we hit that punch, you want to keep it tight. We want those hands low when they come out of our stance. As you're going to hit that punch, hands nice and low, wrists locked, but keeping those hands inside on the chest plate. There is a technique called wide hands where you will use wide hands on purpose. I don't think that's what's being taught. I think they're just missing on their punches. And so what happens, and why this is such a big issue for Voorhees, is when he hits his hands wide, you can see right there the defender is able to create that leverage point, right? So he now has to basically brace with his feet. He doesn't have that lower leverage point where he can sink into his hips and anchor. And so when you land with your hands wide, you basically get turned into a sled, the traditional sled where, guys pop it and then take it for a few yards. And that's exactly what happens to Voorhees here. He just gets his chest plate driven back into Cooper Rush. Then when you look at Daniel Falele, we know what his issue is. He lacks the athleticism. So you're going to get Tyler Linderbaum sliding to the left. You have a wide technique out across from Mark Andrews. So Rodgers got to get out into his vertical set. So you're going to get Tyler and Daniel Falele handling the 2 tech right across from Falele. So as the snap goes, what he's doing here, he's basically chipping on the 2 tech, and then he's going to go outside and help Roger. And this is a way that you can help your tackles with your interior, because what that does, theoretically, if your guard's athletic enough, is it allows your tackle to cheat a little bit. So you're going to help your center, so that you're not getting him into a one-on-one situation where he's going to get driven back, but he's going to chip up and then basically get out to help that right tackle, who's allowed to play a little bit more square. He doesn't have to worry about his inside hand as much. So what I'd want to see from Falele here is to basically bang the inside hip against his inside hip. So he's going to kind of step in and step up to the defender and then use his athleticism to get outside. And so what you're going to see here is he throws, and then he has to turn and run, and he misses and ends up on the ground. I don't know how else to explain this. I was having a conversation with, our friend. You guys definitely follow him and follow his work, Spencer Schultz. We were talking about this. He's just not a fluid athlete. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. This is just not a fluid athlete moving. He should be banging inside hip on outside hip on the right here. So that hip he should just be banging, pushing off with his inside hand, and then getting outside. But as soon as he turns, he just lumbers his way out there. And then when he gets outside, he's there slow, which is the big piece there, because Roger, again, you can see it in Roger's set. You can see Roger play this deep because he can play it deep and you can see it with his foot placement. And that's exactly why Anderson starts to work inside on him, because he's protecting that outside corner. He's expecting Falele to come down and be able to give him that help, but he just doesn't get there fast enough. So Andrew Voorhees is a technical issue with his hands, fundamental issue. Daniel Falele is an athletic issue. Then you're going to, once again, what I just said about using those 4 technique defensive tackles to get the guards out in space. So you're going to see it again here. So they go wide with their defensive line, and then they mug the A gaps with their 2 linebackers. So you're going to see what the defense ends up doing is they bail 45, they blitz 29, the safety's going to come down, and then Al-Shahir is going to step off and then delay blitz. And this is definitely something they were seeing from what Spagnuolo did to them. And so you're going to just see Daniel Falele have to get in space and just have a bad rep. It's just constantly happening. So he's got to get out to that 4 technique across from Roger Rosengarten. And right there, when he happens, it's just like this. It's bad. It's bad. It's just athleticism. Right there, he's going to get out. He's going to miss his punch. It's like he's so focused on using his length that he abandons all of his technique. He just lunges. Right there, you can see him clear as day lunging, and then he tries to turn and chase. So, and, there's a bad rep on the backside too. I think it's one of No Boom's. Yeah, No Boom just loses that. We're going to talk about No Boom here in a second. So the pass protection is just bad. So we're just seeing constant pressure coming up into Cooper Rush's face. Isaiah Likely makes a nice catch. You get into another rep here. Another thing this line struggles with, and some of that is, No Boom coming in and being a newer starter on this team and just lacking chemistry. But the way they're going to handle a stunt here on the left side, No Boom just doesn't see it. Voorhees sees it late. So right here, you're going to get a stunt from the linebacker. So right there, the interior force player is going to come through, or the edge player is going to come inside as a force player and create that loop. And you can see right there, Voorhees kind of picks it up, but very late. Like, that's not it. They're basically squeezing this. And EJ Speed, the linebacker, is the twist player. And as he comes around, he just gets into Cooper Rush completely untouched. Like, completely unacceptable way of handling a stunt. And your quarterback's taking a shot here. So right there, he stands in, he delivers the ball. That's the big DeAndre Hopkins catch. But your quarterback's getting whacked because you're not reading this properly. And so right there, they don't pick it up. It's just constant execution issues with this pass protection. Now we're going to focus on Joe Noteboom, who really struggled in this game. So right here, you're going to see him. And I mean, he's a backup left tackle playing against a top 3 edge duo. So it's not that it's necessarily surprising, but you're going to see what happens in this play is he's trying to play with speed and get into his vertical set, but he doesn't set his feet at all at the contact point. So as soon as he gets out into that vertical set, right there. So as soon as he gets into this point and he shoots his hands land low. His body is completely not ready. He doesn't have his hips ready to drop. He's not able to drop an anchor. And basically what Anderson does is just work that inside. He pushes him back and then he rips on the inside once he's gotten parallel with the quarterback. And right there, Cooper Rush spins out. Now he has to throw it away here. Obviously, after you spin, you can't spin again. He tried to spin twice, lost 18 yards on the sack, but just fundamental issue there with Joe Noteboom and his athleticism. He just can't play like that against Will Anderson. You're going to see another issue here with the tackles. Right there, he just gets swam too easy, gets caught with his feet. He's probably focusing on a speed rush here to the outside because of where he's lined up over the tight end. Anderson's going to slant inside on him, and as he does, he creates that inside lane and then forces Cooper Rush to get the check down. And this is a Lamar Jackson thing where Lamar was constantly getting pressure up in his face, and then people are wondering why he's starting to get a little panicky in the pocket. It's because you're getting pressured on them, or, even if it's not counting as a pressure, guys are losing reps on every rep, making you go to your check down. Get into another one here. Joe Newboom push back into the pocket. Again, just even completions, simple completions, pressure coming up into Cooper Rush's face. Another one here. See, just losing that side. Like Roger loses his inside hand. It's hard to trust these guys. It starts out okay, but if Joe Newboom's going to take this angle on the edge player, he's got to push him at the back of the pocket. He doesn't, though. And the ball ends up actually getting hit. So he needs to push him out the back of the pocket faster because you're still allowing your quarterback to take contact. So fundamental issues there with the Ravens pass protection. We've been talking about it. Well, I'll say every week, because we've done a video on this every single week that the Ravens have played. Before we dive into our conclusion, this video is brought to you by our friends at Profit X. It's Thursday Night Football. I've been talking about this all week. I'm going after that Giants money line. The odds are just simply too good over on Profit X. It's a peer-to-peer market exchange, not a sports book. You're playing against other people, not against the house. That means you're getting better odds. On a $10 bet, you're usually getting a couple dollars more than other websites. Why wouldn't you go get extra money if you're going to be placing the same bets anyway? So go check it out. Use sign-up code RoadGraders to get up to $200 in Profit X cash back in your first 30 days. So the question is, what do we do? Because this has been just a problem that's been happening every week. It isn't starting to get better. You start with Joe Newboom, I think, is the simplest. You got to get Ronnie Stanley healthy, because the alternative would be to play Carson Vincent, or move Roger Rosengarten over and play Carson Vincent at right tackle. If Stanley's out long term, I would prefer that, because I prefer to just start Vincent at left tackle, because at least you're getting the developmental aspect out of playing Vincent. I don't think Vincent's going to be able to step in with how raw we've seen him play, even though he got a lot better in the preseason, and give you, starting quality left tackle reps. He was always going to be a project. They want to develop him, but at least you're getting those developmental snaps. So I would go there, because Joe Newboom's ceiling is so low anyway, his floor is so low anyway, that it's not like you're getting productive left tackle play. You compare to a guy like Patrick McCarry, a lot of fans want to see gone, but when he had to step into games, he usually wasn't this big of a liability. It really became a liability when he had to start 10, 15 games at left guard last year. But when he had to step in as a tackle throughout his career, he was usually able to step in and get you through a few games. Then the guard situation is obviously the big one. And the only other thing to do is to try different personnel. We saw Voorhees get benched for McCarry last year. I would personally start with benching Falele. I think it sucks, because there was a lot of potential there, but he's not an athlete. I think he's limiting what Tyler Linderbaum's able to do in their run scheme. He doesn't give up as much pressure. It's just when he does, he misses so badly. But he's just not an athlete that I think is going to be a long-time NFL starter. Like, I just don't see it. Voorhees, you can still kind of sell me on some developmental qualities, but he's got to get better a lot quicker. So his leash would be very short. But I'd be taking a look at, what can you do at that right guard position? Is it Ben Cleveland? Is it Kenyon Green? Is it Corey Bullock? They have options. I would start to explore those options to fill that void. So that's personally what I would do. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys would do on the offensive line. Send them all to the moon. Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. Hit subscribe if you're new here. And thank you to our friends at Profit X for sponsoring this video.